You can test the speakers.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll have to get out of here again.
No, right from there.
Right from there.
You're all set, Mayor.
Thank you, James. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Newington Town Council regular meeting of Tuesday, December 8th at 7 p.m. If you would all please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we will begin our meeting. The first item is roll call, please.
Counselor Braverman,
Here.
Counselor Budraco,
Here.
Counselor Camillo,
Here.
Counselor Donahue,
Here.
Counselor Mankey,
Here.
Counselor Minor,
Here.
Counselor Nagel,
Here.
Mayor Del Buono,
Here.
Counselor Anist.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone is present. Welcome again. We will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. So I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I just have one correction or change.
Okay, go right ahead, Counselor Mankey.
I'd like to table the approval of the minutes for the previous meetings.
Yep, the changes are on the, so it's specific to item XA and XB, correct?
Correct.
Don't know why that.
Counselor Anist, would you like to amend your motion to approve the agenda based on those recommendations?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second. No, I can't second.
Seconded by Counselor Braverman. Any further discussion on the items? All right, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono,
Yes,
9-0.
thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
All right, we will move on. We are very fortunate this evening. The next item on our agenda is the proclamations and awards section. And we do have several recipients this evening. The first, I'm sorry, did someone say something? Okay. The first item that we're going to do is the proclamation to honor Karen Gagliardi's retirement. My understanding is that Ms. Gagliardi will be watching on YouTube, but will not be actually participating in the meeting. If that has changed, I'll check our participants window just to make sure. But I don't see her in there. So I'm going to go ahead and read this into the record. Proclamation. Whereas Karen Gagliardi has 26 plus years of service with the town of Newington, and whereas Karen's genuine caring and compassion for the thousands of Newington residents in need, including youth, adults, older adults, and people with disabilities that have received services through the Department of Human Services, has made a difference. And whereas Ms. Gagliardi is skilled in determining the needs of those calling our department, giving them appropriate information and referrals, advising them of next steps, and setting them at ease in often difficult situations. And whereas Ms. Gagliardi has managed the finances of the department, including payroll, expense vouchers, purchase orders, deposits, office supply orders, monthly statistics for the food bank, and financial reports as needed for various grants. And whereas Ms. Gagliardi provides information and referral services over 600 times each month. And whereas Ms. Gagliardi has been key to the organization of our department and coordinating appointments and meetings. In fact, she lovingly earned the title of the Queen and the Payroll Police. And whereas strong work ethic and pride in her work and the quality of care provided by Human Services have served the town of Newington admirably. And whereas, above all else, we will miss Karen's exuberant personality and great sense of humor. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby recognizes and extends its sincere appreciation to Karen Gagliardi for her professional service and dedication to the town and wishes her the best in her retirement. Dated in Newington, Connecticut, this 8th day of December, 2020, signed Beth Del Buono, Mayor.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Braverman. Thank you. I'll open it up for discussion. Deputy Mayor Bedrejko.
Yes, Karen, I know you and the department and all your coworkers are going to miss you, along with all the members of the community that you've interacted with over the past 25 years. In your position, I'm sure you've seen a lot of very difficult situations, but I think you've also seen the goodness of people of this community, as well as, hope that's been offered to them. And I'd like to thank you for all you've done for Newington residents, both directly and indirectly. And I hope that you enjoy every minute of your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Bedrejko. Councilor Menke.
I'd also like to add my congratulations to your retirement. Retirement's great. I recommend it. I just appreciate all your hard work for the town, and it's people like you and all that work for our town that help us out to make our town so great. And I appreciate all your efforts, and wish you well.
Thank you, Councilor Menke. Any other council comment? Ms. Gagliardi, I would like to add my congratulations to you and my thanks and appreciation for all your years of service to the town and to our residents. It's clear from the comments and things that were said in the proclamation, the people that are in your department and in the town hall that helped write this proclamation clearly have a very fond affection for you and for all that you've done for them over the years. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in your retirement. All right. We will move on now. In front of us this evening, we have our Building a Strong Community Awards. And there are 4 recipients this evening, although a few of them cover groups. So certainly far more than 4 people are being touched here this evening by these awards.
Mayor,
Yes.
we still need to take a vote.
Oh, I apologize. I do that all the time on the proclamations. Thank you for keeping me in check. We'll go to a roll call vote on this one, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Bedrejko,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. I apologize, guys. Keep me honest. All right. So as I was saying, we have this evening before us our Building a Strong Community Award recipients. There are 4 specific proclamations or awards to be read into the record and be given this evening. Unfortunately, when we do these proclamations and awards, we are usually in person. So just for the public's knowledge, there are plaques and proclamations that will be given in hard copy to the recipients outside of this meeting this evening. So the first award this evening is being awarded to Tom Tallard, and we are going to share the wealth of being able to present these awards. So for Tom Tallard, I would ask that Councilor Del Buono, Councilor Donahue, go ahead and read that in for us.
Thank you. Whereas the Town Council, the Newington Park and Recs Board, and the Parks and Recreation Department has a tradition of annually honoring businesses, volunteers, and/or civic groups that help the department better serve our residents with a Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Awards. These recipients will be displayed on the Wall of Honor at the Mortensen Community Center in perpetuity. Whereas the department cannot run over 800 programs without the generous donation used to start or enhance various programs and an abundant number of volunteers to provide many special events and programs. And whereas the board and department measure the benefits of our community in 4 major categories: benefits to the individual, benefits to the community, benefits to the environment, and benefits to the economy. And whereas the Park and Rec Department has named Tom Tallard for the Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. And whereas Tom Tyler started his humble beginnings working several summers in the Park and Rec Division and serving as the playground supervisor at Seymour Park for many years. Whereas Tom Tyler, through the means of education and mentoring, has contributed to the growth and development of our youth community. And whereas Tom Tyler was instrumental in securing funds through a grant opportunity awarded to the town of Newington that established the Youth Services Bureau. And whereas Tom Tyler served the town of Newington on the town council. Whereas Tom Tyler secured funding for playgrounds and other federal grants focused on improving services for our youth. And whereas Tom Tyler was crucial in the development of the teen center and the former Mortenson Community Center, allowing kids to have a safe place to enjoy time with friends. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby congratulates Tom Tyler on being named the 2020 Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award recipient and recognizes his generosity and support of the Newington Park and Recreation Department. Whew.
Thank you, Counselor Donahue. All
Second.
right, is there a second? Seconded by Counselor Ennis. Let's take a vote and then we'll discuss. All those in favor, I'm sorry, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes,
9-0.
wonderful, thank you. I believe Mr. Tallard is on with us this evening. So let me just, I'm sorry, guys, we have a lot of participants, so let me make sure that he's able to speak with us. Mr. Tallard, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Wonderful. We'd like to give you an opportunity to speak if you'd like to, and then we'll open it up for council comment as well.
Can I have a few minutes?
Absolutely.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I have to say I'm so honored to be here. I want to thank all the people that have their fingerprints on this award. It was very kind of you. I'd like to thank my children, TJ and Kimmy, for a lifetime of love and support. And like everybody else, I get by with a little help from my friends. And I'd like to thank some of the people that made sure that I made it this far. Jim Stigliano, Tom Leone, Jerry Sinkowitz, Dave Millardo, Mike Abronzino, Rodney Mortensen, Bill DeMayo, and Keith Chapman. Wow, okay, boy, this is a long list. I guess I needed a lot of help. If you don't know any of these people, I'm sure there is a Hall of Fame somewhere with their picture in it. If not, all their pictures, I'm sure, are hung on the wall at the Newington post office in the center of town. I came to Newington. I came to Newington some 65 years ago, and I grew up on 5th Street in the west end of town. It actually sits on the Newington to Brittontown line, and it's about a half a mile away from Newington Town Hall as the crow flies. I don't know, do we say that thing anymore? Well, okay, it also borders my beloved Seymour Park, which is also about a half a mile away from Newington Town Hall as the crow flies. And now 65 years later, you tell me that my picture is going to be hung in Town Hall in Newington. All I could think of was, it took me 65 years to travel 1/2 of a mile. Very few people know that Keith Chapman, the town manager of Newington, and I worked together for many years, and many years ago, actually, when our hair was probably naturally brown. Our job was to cut all the grass in all the cemeteries in town. It was a thankless job. We'd finish cutting the grass in the first cemetery, move on to the next one. And in the meantime, the first one would be overgrown already. At lunchtime, we used to sit under the big maple tree in the center cemetery in the center of town. And we would wonder what we wanted to be when we really grew up. Well, when I really grew up, I became a teacher. And now there's Keith Chapman. Now, he's been employed in the Newington town manager's office one time, right? Or wait a minute, no, hold on a second. I think my notes are wrong. He's been employed in the town manager's office 2 times. Wait a minute, I think I got a news flash here. He's been employed in the town manager's office 3 times. The trifecta, the hat trick. And a wise man might say that Keith Chapman is still wondering what he wants to do when he really grows up. My lifelong association with the town of Newington has been wonderful, but it got off to a very rocky start, to say the least. A friend of mine told me about a summer playground supervisor opening at my beloved Seymour Park in Newington. So I came down to the Parks and Rec office to fill out an application. The secretary there, who was much older than me, said, hey, young man, we've got, we've got 70 applications for this one position, and you don't have much of a chance to get it. Well, I filled out the application anyway, and about halfway through, I agreed with her. I didn't have any chance at all to get this job. So for my references, I put down rock stars. I put down Jimi Hendrix, Jim Croce, John Lennon, and Mick Jagger, all of whom had passed away at that time, except for Mick Jagger. The very next day, I get a call from that same secretary, and she goes, Mr. Tallard, Mr. Tallard, Mr. Tallard. Bob Stanley, the director of Parks and Rec, was very impressed with your application. He said he'd never seen anything like it. And all I could say was, yeah, I bet. He wants you to come down for an interview today, and he wants to offer you that position at Seymour Park. And well, so it begins. She went on to say, I'm very happy for you, Mr. Tallard, but I don't know why this is funny after all these years, but quite frankly, between you and I'm having a very difficult time getting a hold of your references. Some 40 years ago, Mr. Peter Curry, we got to get serious now. Some 40 years ago, Mr. Peter Curry, our town manager in Newington, who believed in me much more than I ever believed in myself. Boy, that much is true. The town manager of Newington asked me to write a federal grant to procure funding for a youth services bureau. At that time, Newington was the only town in central Connecticut without one. New Britain, Weathersfield, Rocky Hill, West Hartford, Berlin, they all had it. They all had fully functioning, fully operational youth service bureaus. Well, I'll spare you the details. The project took about 6 months, and one of the happiest days of my life was when Mr. Peter Curry called me into his office to tell me the good news. Newington had a youth services bureau. Whew. In all due respect to one of my greatest heroes, Lou Gehrig, first baseman for the New York Yankees, today I am the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I want to thank you for letting me tell my story. Merry Christmas. Peace.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tallard. I'm going to open it up to council comment on this award. Councilor Donahue.
Tom, congratulations. Probably very, very well deserved. I've known Tom for, this is probably going to upset him, but Tom was one of my teachers at St. Mary's School.
Oh, crap. I remember that. Am I still on? Oh, no. Yes, John. And it was such a joy teaching you. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Yes.
And look where I am today, sitting around the council table. But
right. Wondering what you want to be when you really grow up. Yeah.
I want to still be a fireman, but that's okay. But in reference to your comment, it's not how the crow flies, it's how the drone flies now. So just clear that up for you. But, once again, congratulations, very well deserved. And, thanks for everything you did for the town.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tallard. Really enjoyed your comments and so appreciate the things that you've done for our town over the years. And so very glad that Parks and Recreation chose you as one of their recipients this evening. Thank you so much.
I can't tell you what a wonderful moment this is for me and my family.
And there you see on the screen is the plaque that will be awarded to you when we are able to get to you in person.
Oh, please, you got to take it off. I'm getting misty over here.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening. We're going to go on. We have a few more recipients to honor this evening, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Peace.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to move on. Our next award this evening is for the Newington Masons, our Building a Strong Community Award, and I'm going to go ahead and read this one into the record. Whereas the Town Council, the Newington Parks and Recreation Board, and the Parks and Recreation Department has a tradition of annually honoring businesses, volunteers, and/or civic groups that help the department better serve our residents with a Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. These recipients will be displayed on the Wall of Honor at the Mortensen Community Center in perpetuity. And whereas the department could not run over 800 programs without the generous donations used to start or enhance various programs and an abundant number of volunteers to provide many special events and programs. And whereas the board and department measure the benefits to the community in 4 major categories: benefits to the individual, benefits to the community, benefits to the environment, and benefits to the economy. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has named the Newington Masons for the Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. And whereas the Newington Masons donated a massive canopy tent to multiple town events, they also subsidized the tent fee for Camp Recreate for the entire 8-week program. Whereas the Newington Masons members donated their time to set up the tent at the beginning of the extravaganza week and helped break it down at the end. And whereas the Newington Masons also offer the free Children Identification Program, CHIP, annually. The CHIP program gives parents an opportunity to create a kit of identifying material for their child free of charge. The kit contains a physical description of the child, a video of the child, a fingerprint card, a DNA sample, and dental imprint. Whereas the Newington Masons came to the department's aid during the pandemic to offer their tent free of charge for the new Downtown Music Series that took place on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at Constitution Square throughout the summer and fall. Whereas each and every Mason has demonstrated a tremendous amount of flexibility, cooperation, and work ethic to help the entire town enjoy free concerts while safely socially distancing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby congratulates the Newington Masons on being named the 2020 Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award recipient and recognizes their generosity and support of the Newington Parks and Recreation Department. All right, thank you. So I am trying to find on my screen, is Mr. DeMeo with us this evening?
He is. We're looking for a second as well.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Counselor Nagel. We're going to go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Boudreaux,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
All right, I am trying to decipher on our screen because we have so many attendees who is here to receive this award for the Masons.
Mr. Bister is here. Tad Bister at the bottom. I'm not sure which of the 3, though.
All right, let me just scroll. I have so many on my screen. I'm going to ask to unmute if you'd like to make any comments.
Thanks.
Madam Mayor and Town Councilors, as the current Worshipful Master of Sequin Level Masonic Lodge, I am honored to accept this distinguished award. And on behalf of the officers and members of the Lodge, I would like to thank the Parks and Recreation Department for selecting us this year to receive it. I would also like to thank all of our members who have given their time to support the things that we do for the town, several of whom are with me here at the Lodge this evening to accept the award. Sequin Level Lodge and many of its members call the town of Newington their home, and we appreciate the opportunity to give back to our community. As Masons, most of our charitable work benefits the children in our various communities. So donating our tents for Parks and Recreation Department events and holding our child identification program at the Life Unit Extravaganza are just a couple of the ways we like to help the children of Newington. At this time, we are also wrapping up our annual food and toy drives for the town's Human Services Department. If anyone watching tonight would like to join us in this great and good work, we invite you to come down to the lodge for one of our fundraising breakfasts, which are open to the public and held the first Sunday of every month. We will be delighted to introduce you to Masonry and give you a tour of the lodge. Or you can also check us out on the web at lodge140.ctfreemasons.net, or by simply Googling Newington Masons and clicking on the link for Sequin Level Lodge.
Thank you, Mr. Bistor. I'm going to open it up to council comment. Councilor Mankey?
I just would also like to congratulate the Masons. I've witnessed your members, 10 putting up skills and 10 taking down skills working with the Waterfall Festival, and I'm amazed at the teamwork that you folks exhibit. And I'm also impressed with all the work that you do for our town to make our town a better place. And certainly it's good to have organizations like yours in our town that give back to the community. And that's one of their tenets. So I appreciate your efforts and congratulate you.
Thank you, Councilor Mankey. Deputy Mayor Draco.
Yes, I'd also like to echo what Councilor Mankey has said. I know the Masons in Newington, both collectively and also as individuals, certainly contributed a lot of their time and talent to helping Newington become a better place. And particularly this summer when activities were sparse, there was very little going on. The outdoor concerts where, you provided the tent and the shelter, whatever, was a bright spot in our community. But it's just one of the few things that I know overall you do to make Newington a better place. So thank you to the Masons.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Draco. I too would like to extend my congratulations to the Sequin Lodge for their award this evening. I have a little familial history. My grandfather and father were both lifetime members of the Masons, and so I was really pleased to see this award this evening. I know firsthand all of the good work that you do, not only in our town, but really nationwide. And so I was so pleased to see the group get this award this evening. And I just want to say thank you for all you do for our community. At every turn, we see something that you guys are helping us out with, and we really do greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our pleasure. And you see on the screen a copy of the plaque that you will be awarded with as well. Okay. All right, folks, we're going to move on. Our next award recipient this evening is Mr. Don Woods. And Councilor Annis, I believe you're going to do this one?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whereas the Town Council, the Newington Parks and Recreation Board, and the Parks and Recreation Department has a tradition of annually honoring businesses, volunteers, and/or civic groups that help the department better serve our residents with a Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. These recipients will be displayed on the Wall of Honor at the Mortensen Community Center in perpetuity. And whereas the department could not run over 800 programs without the generous donations used to start or enhance various programs and an abundant number of volunteers to provide many special events and programs. And whereas the board and department measure the benefits to the community in 4 major categories: benefits to the individual, benefits to the community, benefits to the environment, and benefits to the economy. And whereas Don Woods has been named for the Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. And whereas Don Woods has consistently volunteered to be in the Life Be In It extravaganza to ensure that it maintains its award-winning title. And whereas Don Woods has saved the department thousands of dollars throughout the years by sacrificing his time for town events for over 34 years. And whereas Don Woods continuously supports the department through public-private partnership through his own business, which has allowed us to enhance our programs and events. Whereas Don Woods has made Newington a better town to live in by inspiring those around him as he supports the department in all it consists of. Don volunteers endless hours of time, donates his personal money, and recruits numerous sponsors to join forces with the Newington Parks and Recreation Department. Don truly has dedicated most of his life to making the department successful. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby congratulates Don Woods on being named the 2020 Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award recipient and recognizes his generosity and support of the Newington Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Counselor Ennis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Braverman. Thank you. Let's do a roll call vote on this, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susan. And we will open it up. Mr. Woods, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, yes, good evening, Mayor, Town Council. I certainly am honored and greatly appreciated of this award. It's amazing to be awarded something that you do almost as second nature. I've been involved on the board for so long, I just can't really imagine not being on it. You know, way back then when I first got on, I never thought I'd be on 30, 34 years, whatever it is exactly. But once you get involved in the Parks and Rec Department and you see the board, how it operates, and you see all the accomplishments that it's done since I've been on the board, starting out with just a few things I can think of is, you know, we used to have a very small fireworks display, and then that's grown up to the extravaganza. We now have the waterfall event, the water lantern event, the motorcycle event, culminating with the community center that maybe one day we'll actually be able to get inside and use to its maximum. It's really been a joy being on the board. The board is a great opportunity for folks to get involved in, if you want to use the word politics. It really isn't a political situation. Everybody is always doing what they see best for the town, and it's been that way since I've been on. So I don't really have anything written down, but all I can say is I truly, truly appreciate this. It's a great honor to have received it. I look forward to continuing to serve the town in the capacity of the board, and I wish you all the best holidays and stay well. Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. I would like to open it up to council comment now. Counselor Menke, please.
I just would like to congratulate Don on his being included in this award. I think it's well deserved. He's spent a lot of time with Parks and Rec, but also doing other things for the community, which makes Newington the place we all like to live. So I just would thank Don for all his time and efforts, and have him keep up the good work.
Thank you, Counselor Menke. Counselor Minor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just also like to echo Tim's remarks. I had the opportunity to meet Don, I believe it was 2016, when he was on the board for Parks and Rec at the beginning of the Town Hall project. Working with him over the last few years has been a lot of fun along the way, and to see his passion towards parks and recreational programming and support of the town is look forward to years to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Minor. All right. Don, I just wanted to extend my appreciation and gratitude and congratulations to you on this award. 34 years of service to the town in a volunteer capacity is really something to be proud of. And your passion does shine through in what you do, and working on the Town Hall Renovation Committee with you was another area that you have volunteered your time. So I just wanted to say I appreciate what you've done for our town, and I look forward to your continued work for the town, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. And there's the plaque on the screen for everybody to see as well. All right, our next award recipient this evening is the AARP and FitLot. And I believe Deputy Mayor Budraco is going to present this award.
whereas the Town Council, the Newington Parks and Recreation Board, and the Parks and Recreation Department has a tradition of annually honoring businesses, volunteers, and/or civic groups that help the department better serve our residents with a Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. These recipients will be displayed on the Wall of Honor at the Mortensen Community Center in perpetuity. And whereas the department could not run over 800 programs without the generous donations used to start or enhance various programs and an abundant number of volunteers to provide many special events and programs. And whereas the board and department measure the benefits to the community in 4 major categories: benefits to the individual, benefits to the community, benefits to the environment, and benefits to the economy. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has named AARP and FitLot team for the Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award. And whereas AARP and FitLot joined forces to bring a $200,000 outdoor exercise facility to the Clem-Lemire Recreation Complex. This outdoor facility provides greater opportunity for Newington residents to be active. And whereas AARP and FitLot's teamwork has provided a fitness center with 14 unique exercise elements. Each element has a QR code. These codes provide residents with an instructional video on how to use the equipment and how to do over 50 different exercises. And whereas AARP and FitLot recently made an additional donation of $14,000 to pay for program and instructor fees to allow the department to offer free exercise classes for residents for the next 3 years. And whereas AARP and FitLot have brought forth a facility which will increase health, happiness, and overall quality of life to our town residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby congratulates AARP and FitLot on being named the 2020 Building a Strong Community Special Recognition Award recipients and recognizes their generosity and support of the Newington Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Nagel. And we'll do a roll call vote on this, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. I believe we have representatives from both AARP and FitLot with us this evening. I see Adam, I don't want to say your last name wrong. Is it Meaderson?
Hi, it's Adam Mayerson. Good evening.
Mayerson. Okay, you'd think I would have gotten that right. All right, welcome. I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak.
Sure. Council members, Madam Mayor, thank you so much for recognizing the work of our organization with this award. I'd like to really thank Nora Duncan and AARP Connecticut for selecting the city of Newington to work with and receive this donation. We've had the unique privilege to work with cities throughout the country this year to donate and build a park just like what we did in Clem-Lemire. And I have to say it was an absolute privilege to work with the city of Newington and Bill DeMeo and his team. We're able to thoughtfully take this park and tie it into a beautiful playground space in a perfect location. So it was a really wonderful project and one that is going to be very memorable for us. So as an organization, we say that strong neighbors make strong neighborhoods. And it's really amazing to receive a Building a Strong Community Award from all of you. So thank you very much. And I hope this space and program becomes a part of your community and very much look forward to seeing how you put it to its best use. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. I believe Ms. Duncan is on the line as well.
I am.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. FitLot as well. Thank you. I also just want to say, I'm here in Connecticut representing the AARP Connecticut office and our team of volunteers too. And you're here honoring volunteers from across your town. And I just want to give a shout out to two really strong AARP Connecticut volunteers who live in Newington. And that's Pat Lang and Brent Lavielle. And you guys may know them, but they're really amazing asset to us. And I know they've helped bring AARP programming to Newington in the past. And I know we will, especially again, when we're all together in person, but hopefully virtually as well. Our Office of Community Engagement has really taken charge of this, as mentioned by Adam, across the country. So I'd like to say a special thank you to them, Joel Hartleroad and Maury Pierce Smile. And then of course, on behalf of our CEO, Joanne Jenkins, it's really a pleasure to be able to bring to communities across the country, parks like this that help people stay fit, stay active, that bring livable community opportunities to people of all ages. And that's what we really hope to accomplish with this program. And I'll second what Adam said about Bill. He was really easy to work with. He made this super collaborative and easy for us. And I think this project even came in under the amount of time it was supposed to have taken. But it would not have come together in the way that it did if it wasn't for Diane Stone at Senior and Disability Services, who Bill happened to, I think, read about this program somewhere. And Diane used her connections, of which she has many, many, many across the state, including to me, and just made a phone call. And it happened to fit in at a time that was exactly perfect. And we were able to connect the dots and bring this really great activity and equipment and program to Newington. And to be in person with you to sort of, long before, but celebrate with you guys. And you know what? Once we're done with this pandemic, I think that's our plan for the future. So thank you, enjoy it, and carry on with all of the great work you're doing in Newington.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Duncan, and congratulations. I'll open it up for council comment. Deputy Mayor Bedrejko.
Yes, I'd like to thank, AARP and FitLot for choosing Newington for this very unique partnership. I know it was a competitive process. Many, many communities across the country would love to have benefited from this. And we were fortunate enough, and again, like you said, through the efforts of Bill DeMayo and Diane Stone to partner with both the organizations. And what's really I like about this is it's not just, you donated the money and the equipment is there, but the additional funding that you provided and the opportunities for giving instructional videos so that people can learn to use the equipment, on their own safely, and encouraging more utilization as time goes by. So thank you to both of you, and please convey our thanks to your entire organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Donahue.
Yeah, I want to also echo Councilor Bedrejko's comments, and just want to say that when Bill proposed this, I couldn't quite get my head around what it was. And then once it was finished, I went down there and looked at it, tried a couple pieces of equipment, and it is phenomenal. It is well placed, looks like it's going to be well maintained, and the attachment to the park is perfect. So, thanks to you and your team. Thanks to Bill for helping to coordinate this, and Diane. And hopefully, once the weather rewarms back up and the virus is over, we can get a bunch of people out there.
Thank you, Councilor Donahue. All right, I'd like to echo the sentiments of both Councilor Bedrejko and Councilor Donahue. Thank you so much to both AARP and FitLot for partnering with our community on this project. We really were very fortunate that Bill and Diane were able to reach out and get this going for us, and we greatly appreciate the partnership. And as Deputy Mayor Bedrejko mentioned, not just for the equipment, but really the overall bigger picture of things and helping people understand and utilize it. And Who knew timing wise? They say timing is everything, but when we considered this back in the beginning, we certainly had no idea we'd be hitting a pandemic where people would be looking for the means to use outdoor equipment more and use our parks more. And so this really just was a real blessing for us and our community. So thank you so much for your partnership, and hopefully we'll be able to partner for some more things in the future. Thank you. All right, we are going to move on. There's the plaque on the screen so everybody can see that. And we will move on now to public participation. Any member of the public may participate in the meeting by using the raise your hand function if you're in the Zoom application. And if you are calling in, you can do *9 to raise your hand. And I will take a look at that window. It just takes a moment to get over there. All right, the first person with their hand up, the last 3 digits of the phone number is 800. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Rod Mortensen, 17 Fox Lane.
Welcome, Rod.
Like to say, how are you? Good evening to everyone. I just wanted to make a couple of comments on 2 of the awards, Tom Tallard and Don Woods. As you can tell, Tom has a great sense of humor, and I think that's one of the things that got him along from his beginning in Seymour Park all the way to what he claims is a short trip to the town hall now. But anything that Tom ever did, he put total passion into it and conviction, and there was probably no doubt that when Tom worked on getting the teen center, helping to get the teen center started in the Youth Services Bureau, that it wasn't going to be successful. So I want to congratulate Tom on that. And also for Don Woods, I'm looking at reading the proclamation, the award, and some of the whereas, and there's a couple of things in there that really hit the nail on the head. And one of them was the phrase of that Don has dedicated most of his life to making the department successful. Don's one of those people that works behind the scenes. When you go to the fireworks, when you have kids in sports programs, when you play basketball, any and everything that Parks and Rec does is not done just by the staff. We have a great staff, a great superintendent, but it's the people on the board who also make it happen, and Don was one of the driving forces. And I think the fact that the other part of that whereas phrase was Don Woods has made Newington a better town to live in, and that's a pretty big accomplishment. And I'm honored to say that he and Tom, hopefully, are both friends, and I respect them, and I could only hope to do as much as they did. So congratulations to both of them.
Thank you, Rodney. All right, just give it one more second for me to see if anyone else raises their hand. I do not see anyone else raising their hand, so we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is remarks by counselors on public participation.
Any email correspondence, Mayor?
No,
I did not receive anything. I don't believe anyone else did. Did anyone else?
I have not either.
no, I have not.
Nope.
Thank you. I don't see any hands up, so we will move on to the next item, which is consideration of old business. The first item is a health update regarding COVID-19 from our town manager, Mr. Chapman.
Good evening. I wish I had better news. It seems like it's a repeat every 2 weeks that things just continue to get worse for the COVID-19 situation. As we reported several weeks ago, the town hall and all town buildings are basically closed to public, unfortunately. We're still providing services. We have skeleton crews throughout the town hall and the library, senior center, the police, and fire department, and highway and parks. But it's becoming troublesome for all of us. It's very challenging to know that we have a lot of work to do, and we're somewhat limited on how we can get it done. Many of the people that work for the town right now are doing remote work from their homes, and they're getting the best they can get done as quickly as they can get it done. I know our IT department has been flat out trying to provide the equipment and technology to help our employees get their jobs done. So I would just ask that the public continue to be very patient with us through this dilemma. The report that I just heard last night from the health district director, Charlie Brown, was not good. He's indicating that things are going to get much worse before they get better. That sort of mirrors what the federal government is also saying. So we're just going to hold tight, and it's going to be at least probably through the holidays before we make a final decision on whether we're going to reopen after the holidays. And it all will depend on how the COVID-19 thing rolls out. But I would ask everyone just to be patient and stay safe and stay at home if you don't have to go out, and try to protect yourself and the people around you. And that's about it for the COVID-19 update.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Any council comments or questions? Councilor Menke.
Yeah, as I'm sitting here, I'm realizing it's December already. And if we pass the motion later on, we won't have another meeting before the end of the year. And it seems like it's been a year since we've actually seen each other in person. I know there was some anxious to get back together and meet in person back in September when things were looking better. But I just want to just take a minute to thank all the town employees who have kept our government functioning as best they can, even though these are trying circumstances for all of us. But for the most part, our government has been able to function as it's planned. We've been able to provide services to our citizens. Although they've been scaled down services, we've still been able to function. And I know there's a lot of people that work a lot of extra hours to make that happen. Just these Zoom meetings alone would be extra work just to get it set up, these Zoom meetings that we've now become so unfortunately familiar with. But I just want to make sure we appreciate all those employees that for the last almost a year now have worked really hard to keep us all functioning.
Thank you, Councilor Menke. Any other council comment or questions for the town manager? All right, seeing none, we will move on. The next item is Town Hall project update. That's you, Mr. Chapman, as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to report that it's moving along. Most of the new building is now in the final stages. We still have a couple of issues that we're working through. However, the large white pipes that were extending out from the building on the library side are now no longer functional due to the hooks ups of the state stormwater and sanitary sewer lines. Once the old town hall was removed, they had the ability to get in and hook those pipes up. We haven't had any water into the building at all, so everything is working fine from what we can tell. The basement remained dry for the last couple of heavy storms, and we've had a couple of heavy storms. So now the concentration and the focus is really on the parking lot area for the front of the new town hall, where the police department is located. And that's going to be close, whether it gets what's called the binder course down before the cold weather sets in. There's been a couple of delays due to the removal of the debris, and I think that part of the problem developed last week, where some of the old concrete foundation was discovered that was not known before to be there, so that took some time to remove, as well as the wall at the police department where the auditorium used to be is now being, we'll say, reinforced and finished off. But weather-wise, it'll be close whether the binder course gets down. If the binder course doesn't get down, then as long as we're in the COVID-19 shutdown mode, the parking is not a problem. However, if town hall opens and we don't have the new parking lot available, then we're going to have to really look at alternative locations to park. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel at this point as far as the completion of the town hall. So things are working in a very positive way right now.
That's all great news. Any council comment or question for the town manager? Okay, I don't see any. We'll move on. The next item for consideration this evening is the police motor vehicle support letter. As you recall, after getting some information from our chief clerk regarding a recent uptick in motor vehicle crimes, both break-ins and stolen vehicles, we as a council had talked about perhaps drafting a letter. We were presented with some language last week and last meeting, I should say. And since that time, Councilor Annis, myself, and Deputy Mayor Bedrejko have been corresponding back and forth trying to work on this. And Deputy Mayor Bedrejko has done a lot of work on this letter. And so I would like to turn this over to her for her to give us some more information on this item.
Yes, one of the major themes from our last discussion was that we wanted this letter to be a little bit more forceful and a little bit more directive on what needs to be done and also the impacts to our community. So I took the information and I did some independent research and also reached out again and had a conversation with Chief Clark and came up with a draft, passed it by Councilor Annis and Mayor Del Buono and Chief Clark. So I'm not, James, I did send you a copy. I just recently, I don't know whether you've got it or not, but I don't know whether as a council you want me to read it. It's a page and a half, or the issue is that we'd like to get it to our representatives prior to the start of the January legislative session, because everybody's going to be competing for agenda items to be discussed or to put on their radar for the coming legislative year, and we would like this to have some attention or some focus. So, Mayor, would you like me to read the letter and then send it out to councilors for a quick review and get back to me tomorrow with final comments? Or
yes, I think it's a good idea. If you could read it into the record for us, just so we can all hear the content. I know it was kind of, we were working on it up until last evening. I apologize. We probably should have sent it out to the entire council in light of this meeting this evening. But if we could just talk about the revised language so that as a council, we can kind of give me and whoever else is able to reach out to some other communities, the go-ahead based on the language this evening. If we're in agreement on that, then we can try and get some support from the other communities that we're reaching out to and consider moving this forward. You'll see on the agenda this evening, we're considering canceling the December 22nd meeting. So we won't be meeting as a council until January. So if we could go ahead and as old business this evening, just give a nod to this, then I could get moving on this and get this going for us as a council.
Mayor, I just logged into my email so I can actually display it on the screen for you as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, James.
Okay. I've got it here. So dear legislative delegation, over the last several months throughout the region and the state, there's been a significant rise in stolen vehicles and automobile burglaries. To illustrate, as of November 1st, 2020, Newington experienced a 92% increase in stolen vehicles and a 69% increase in thefts from motor vehicles compared to the same period last year. Wethersfield experienced a 40% increase in stolen vehicles and a 49% increase in thefts from motor vehicles. Berlin experienced a 256% increase in stolen vehicles and a 298% increase in thefts from motor vehicles. The offenders are primarily juveniles and young adults. Many are repeat offenders. Because of legislative restrictions impacting apprehension, detainment, and conviction, these juveniles are soon back on the street, having faced no meaningful sanction for their crime and feeling immune to the risk of continued criminal activity. Auto break-ins and theft have consequences for the entire community. For example, Stolen vehicles are used by offenders to commit more serious crimes, impacting others and resulting in considerable police resources to investigate. Juveniles recklessly operate stolen vehicles with no regard for the safety of others. Auto burglaries and thefts result in higher insurance costs, higher taxes for increased police activity, inconvenience, and financial losses for vehicle owners. Escalation in threat level by offenders, some of whom are armed and threaten residents when confronted, and this is increasing. Violations during daylight hours is rising. Impact community quality of life as concerns for property and personal safety increase. Local law enforcement is making efforts to reduce the number of thefts. There are increased communications and outreach to residents on actions they can take to prevent auto burglary and theft. In addition, there are increased police patrols in residential neighborhoods. If offenders are cited in a car, however, there is little that an officer can do. The statewide mandatory pursuit policy prohibits officers from chasing vehicles for property crimes and motor vehicle violations. As such, offenders have no fear of arrest when fleeing from the police in a vehicle. Resources directed toward law enforcement for training, specialized equipment, and increased personnel, although welcome, are useless if the pattern of catch and release continues. The juvenile justice system is not holding these individuals accountable. The system needs reform. We support recent reforms in the system as necessary and positive in dealing with youthful offenders. Results from many have been constructive and encouraging. However, further reforms are necessary to address the repeat offenders whose criminal activities are escalating into safety risks for the public and for themselves. We're not advocating for harsher measures, but there must be some accountability for habitual offenders. Stronger legislation is needed to enable apprehension and prosecution of chronic youthful offenders. When needed, facilities must be available to keep the most vulnerable off the streets where they can't hurt themselves or others. Once detained, resources must be available to provide meaningful rehabilitation and supports. Law enforcement responses alone are not effective. This is a bigger issue requiring strategic targeting of habitual offenders. The state must take some ownership of this problem. Without your assistance, our police departments are limited in what they can do. The continued burglaries and theft of vehicles is a public safety concern for us, particularly as we see the offenses escalating into broader and bolder activities. We need your assistance at the state level. We request, when the regular session begins in January, that you address this issue. We very much welcome the opportunity to work with you to ensure the safety of all our residents. Respectfully, whoever's going to sign it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And as I mentioned, while some of us had a little bit of input on this, Deputy Mayor Boudreau really did the majority of the work on this, and I greatly appreciate that. I know Chief Clark had a lot of input on this as well, and so I thank both of you for the work on that. We are going to be trying to add statistics for a couple of more communities into this letter.
Cromwell and is it Rocky Hill?
Rocky Hill, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, Rocky Hill. Those are the 5 that are meeting. So hopefully we can get that information on Wednesday.
Right.
That's tomorrow.
And one thing I also want to say is, the primary issue has been the pursuit policy of, once the offenders are in a car. But really, everything I've read and both regionally in the state and in the country, we're not going to get that changed. So just stay away from that as asking for them to advocate for any changes to that, because it's not going to happen because of risks to actually, not only the offenders, but to innocent bystanders. So we have to take a different approach on how to resolve this issue, this problem.
I think your letter said it precisely. There needs to be consequences for their actions. So hopefully we can get, all the mid-state towns to sign on and get this out to the entire state delegation all over the state of Connecticut, and something hopefully will be happening this session. Because this is getting, as Tim says, somebody's going to get injured. And there's already been deaths associated with stolen vehicles. So, next time it could be somebody that we know.
Counselor Mankey?
Yeah, we just thank the three of you for taking the time to write this. I'm impressed. It's very forceful. It clearly states the issue and the facts as we have them, and adding those two towns will certainly help bolster that. It says what we want to have happen and what we see as the problem. So I thank you all for doing that. And again, I would just say that, yeah, at some point, someone's going to get hurt on this. I just read in the news that a policeman in Waterbury was wounded today, responding to a stolen vehicle complaint. I don't have all the details because it wasn't on the news report I read earlier today. But sooner or later, one of our citizens is going to try to stop this from happening, and they're going to get seriously hurt, or someone's going to get seriously hurt. And we have to take some action on this. We just can't bury our head in the sand and hope it'll go away. And again, I would just ask that any of the public, any of our citizens, if they see this happening, don't try to stop it yourself. Just get out of the way. It's only property. Don't put your life in danger or life of other people in danger. We can replace whatever's taken, but we can't replace the lives.
Absolutely. Thank you. Counselor Minor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, as Councilor Mankey just alluded to, it is escalating. There was an incident, I believe it was last week in Manchester, where a gentleman saw somebody take his vehicle. He tried to follow the vehicle as he was contacting police. The people that were in his vehicle returned fire on him, striking the car that he was following. So it is definitely escalating. It's not something that should be taken by anybody's at hand, but turn it over to the police, and hopefully we can get some reform on a state level. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Minor. Yeah, guys, when living in town, you hear the stories all the time from our residents, right? We hear about, a break-in here, a break-in there. And at first we thought, well, hopefully this is just a phase, or it's just a weird coincidence, or it's something, that we can't really explain. But over time, we have clearly seen an escalation. You look at these statistics, and that really was alarming to me when the chief provided these stats. And in Newington, it's a 92% increase and a 69% increase in stolen vehicles. And then you look at Berlin, they're almost at 300%. It's truly alarming. And, and I've said this before, we at our home were victim to one incident, but I know several people who have had it happen multiple times in their driveway. And, it's not going away. And so I think in the beginning, I hoped it was just, maybe just one little group of young individuals that were, doing it, or, they thought it was fun, or, whatever. This isn't a fun event. This isn't something that's passing. It's escalating. It's getting worse. And, the stats really are, as I said, very alarming. So I'm really pleased that this council as a whole is taking this seriously and wants to do something about it. I'm hoping that our state legislature will listen to our pleas. And quite frankly, the evidence and the facts that Councilor Bedrejko was able to pull together for us here, and Chief Clark as well. So what I'm looking for tonight, I don't think we need a formal action. This is a letter representing that I can, certainly sign as mayor, and I would sign it on behalf of the entire council if everyone is in agreement with that. And what I would ask is that you allow the three of us, Councilor Anist, Deputy Mayor Bedrejko, and myself, to continue to finalize the document in terms of just that right now this is draft language, but the substance of the document would stay the same, with us hopefully adding statistics from a couple more communities. And if everyone's in agreement with us going ahead with that, then we will go ahead and get this finalized. We will make sure we email it out to the council so everyone can see the final document. And then we would look to move forward to sending it out to, at minimum, our legislative delegation, and taking some action there and hoping that they'll take action and take it seriously. What I'm hoping for is that if we do this as an entire council and we can gain support from the other communities that we have the statistics for. So we're looking to reach out to Weathersfield, Berlin, Cromwell, and Rocky Hill. Hopefully those 5 towns, those 4 towns plus us. And if we can get them on board with perhaps signing on to this letter with us, and it shows, 5 town councils in support of this, hopefully, that hopefully the legislators will take it more seriously and really consider doing something in the next session. I see several hands up, so I'm going to stop talking and move on. Councilor Nagel.
Thank you. I appreciate all the work that the group has done, and do think that this letter needs to be moved along as quickly as possible. It's a proactive way that we can do something on a council level, hopefully with the cooperation and agreement with the other towns in the area who are suffering as much, if not more than we are in terms of all these instances. And would be very appreciative if indeed this greatly improved draft from before is sent out, and what we plan to do that we follow through with. And also I'd like to take the moment to say that individuals in town can be proactive as too, not to do as Councilor Menke has said, to chase or to get involved in confrontation, but to be proactive in terms of not getting themselves as best they can in a situation where there is the opportunity for someone to steal a car that is running, to break into a house because windows are open, to do other things, to be extra diligent in terms of protecting themselves and themselves and their community and their possessions, and also be on the lookout for others. So that indeed they can prevent by being extra diligent, and also in terms of being diligent in terms of reporting things that they think may be happening to the appropriate authorities. So if all of us together hunker down, so to speak, and are more aware of our surroundings and what we're doing on a thoughtful basis when it comes to these opportunities that people unwaringly leave for that moment, and it only takes a second for someone looking for trouble and for taking valuables to take that opportunity, no matter where they are in town and in the region for that matter, unfortunately. So I agree with the letter, and I hope that the community will, more than they are, proactively and safely support us and to support their neighbors and themselves so that they don't fall into these situations that seem to be escalating in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nagel. Councilor Menke.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly support moving this letter forward. I think time is of the essence here. I think again, it's important we state our case and we make this issue known as quickly as possible, because it is only getting worse. It's escalating, and so I would support moving it along. I would support signing it on behalf of the council. I would support forwarding it then to the other 4 towns in our area, and getting their input or getting them to write similar letters or signing onto our letter, whatever. But I think we need to move forward as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Councilor Menke. Deputy Mayor Bedrejko.
Yes, when we do forward this, personally, I think it would be helpful if, we don't want to take time to have everybody sign it, but I think listing all of the council members would be appropriate, because that shows it's a bipartisan effort, and not just, one party versus another. So if all of our names, and hopefully the names of other councilors in other towns could be listed, even though you could, the mayor would sign it on our behalf, the official signature, but to list all of us as being in support.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely agree. Yep. Is there anyone, well, I mean, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but it sounds like there's support. I want to make sure that everyone is in support. So you can either acknowledge support this evening, which I've heard a few, or if you'd rather email me and let me know if you support this measure or not, but I need to know for sure whose name I'm putting on the letter. So when we have the final draft with the final stats, I will send it out and everyone can just acknowledge back to me, and then we'll get it going, if that makes better sense than putting people on the spot. But How does everyone feel about that?
I think if you send a letter out to all of us and we can just respond back and say, looks good, go for it.
Perfect. All right, that's what I will plan on doing. Counselor Menke?
I trust the three of you to do a fantastic letter, so you have my support as it is right now.
Thank you. I'll check you off the list.
Check me off the list.
All right. So we'll get that going, and it doesn't look like anybody else has their hands up, so we'll move on. The next item is extension of the town manager residency requirement. So you will all remember back when we hired Mr. Chapman, we had given him 6 months to establish residency, and the town charter allows for another 6-month extension of that. So tonight is really just a formality of us to consider this. You'll see the charter language on the screen. At the time, the underlined portion, at the time of the appointment of the manager need not be a resident of the town or state, but while in office shall reside within the town within a period of no more than 6 months from the first date of work as manager, with the possibility of an extension of up to 6 months at the discretion of the council. So that is what we're here to consider this evening, is that additional 6 months. And we did have that built into his contract language as well. Mr. Chapman, did you have anything you wanted to add to this? This is really your request.
Yes, I just want to indicate the reason for this delay, and again, it's an unknown what's going to happen in the future, but the COVID-19 is really controlling my life and my family's life at this point. And I'm not sure what's going to happen 6 months from now. So we're hoping that this whole COVID thing goes away and everything gets back to normal, and we'll move forward. But you know, I can't at this point guarantee what's going to happen. I don't think anybody can guarantee what's going to happen for any reason, for anything going on. So I just want you all to know that you know, I appreciate if you want to extend it, I would appreciate it. But I also understand that you know, the charter only gives me another 6 months. But if COVID-19 continues, we'll have to have another discussion closer to that 6-month period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Chapman, I clearly understand your concerns. I know, you know, we're all trying to stay in our homes and you know, contain our families as best we can and stay in a little cohort as best we can. And so certainly shopping for a home right now might not be what you are looking to do and your family is looking to do. So I completely understand that. To me, this is a no-brainer to certainly advocate for the following 6 months. And quite frankly, as a council, we're going to have to start at least thinking about this, perhaps engaging the town attorney in the discussion, just because this is charter language. And I know that that is extremely important. That is what rules us. But right now we have a lot of executive orders and a lot of reason why we're in a state of emergency regarding a pandemic. And so we may have to at least consider that if we're not able to have Mr. Chapman establish residency in the next 6 months, depending on how this plays out. It's just something food for thought for us to consider as a council. I see Councilor Menke's hand is up. Go ahead, Councilor Menke.
Yeah, I certainly support this extension. I think it's important that our town manager keep his family safe. And if you have been trying to buy or sell a house in this market, it's difficult. And I'm not sure I'd want a lot of people traipsing through my house to look at my house, or I'd want to be going traipsing through other people's houses to buy a house. So I certainly support this 6 months extension. And if we have to, you know, get another extension, I'm willing to do that down the road. But that's hopefully down the road.
Right.
So I certainly support another 6 month extension.
Thank you, Councilor Menke. Actually, Councilor Menke, would you read the motion into the record for us?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Resolved, the Newington Town Council, in accordance with the Town of Newington Charter, Article 5, the manager, Section C501, and the current town manager contract language in Section 12, moving and relocation expenses, hereby moves to approve the residency extension requirement for an additional 6 months as requested by Keith Chapman, Town Manager.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Camillo. And further discussion by the council. All right, seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote on this, please.
Counselor Anest,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono,
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Chapman, you're stuck with us for a few more months.
I appreciate your support, and let's hope the next 6 months goes better than the last 6 months. Thank you.
Amen.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let's hope home sales stay up for you. Prices stay up for your sale. Because it's just crazy out there. People
That
are
is
buying
a
and
benefit.
selling. People
Yep.
are buying and selling.
Yep. All right, we will move on. The next item is new business. We'll move on to the first item under new business is our town council meeting schedule for 2021. So we have in our packets this evening a tentative schedule for our consideration of our meetings for the next year. You'll see, as always, 2 for each month. And I will open it up for discussion if there are any considerations or concerns regarding the schedule.
No. James, did you confirm that there's no holidays?
Yeah, I did pull all the holiday listing to confirm that it didn't impact with us at any points.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You'll see November 9th is starred as an organizational meeting for newly elected officials at 8 p.m. It's hard to believe we're already considering that. I don't see any counselors' hands up, so we will keep this on the agenda for action at our next meeting.
Right.
Is the cancellation of December 22nd, 2020 regular meeting. Action is requested for this one, so even though it's new business, we're going to have to consider waiving the rules if we'd like to move this forward. Given that that's the holiday week, and there really is no pressing business on our pending agendas. The town manager and I spoke earlier, as well as the majority and minority leaders, and thought that it was reasonable for us to consider canceling this date. So I will open it up for discussion on this item. Councilor Menke.
I would just point out that if something does come up, we can always call a special meeting. So I think canceling it is certainly would be helpful for all of us to spend more time with our families as best we can during COVID.
Great, thank you. Any other council comment on this? So James, I believe we're going to need to waive the rules in order to take action on this evening. Is that correct? There we go. Thank you. Who would like to read the motion into the record for us?
I will.
Thank you, Councilor Nagel.
Resolved, the Newington Town Council, in accordance with number 11 of the Town Council Rules of Procedure adopted February 11th, 2020, hereby moves to allow action on agenda item 8B to cancel the December 22nd, 2020 regular meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Menke. Any further discussion on the waiving of the rules?
Do me
Okay.
one favor, make one amendment, because I pulled an old one. It should say section 12, not section 11. Oh, I just looked at my rules and I went, that doesn't sound right to me.
Councilor Nagel, would you amend your motion to read section 12 instead of 11, please?
I will amend it to say section 12 instead of 11.
Thank you. And would you amend your second, Councilor Menke?
I will.
Thank you. And we'll go to a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anest,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
And the next item is the actual resolution to consider canceling. Oop. That was just waiving of the rules, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. So we will move on now to the resolution to actually cancel the December 22nd meeting. Who can read that in for me?
I'll read it again if you'd like me to.
Wonderful. Thank you, Counselor Nagel.
Resolved, the Newington Town Council hereby approves the cancellation of the December 22, 2020 Town Council regular meeting.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you, Counselor Mankey. And we will open it up for public participation on this as we have waived the rules. We want to make sure the public has a chance to weigh in prior to us taking a vote on this. So I'm going to look at our other screen just to make sure if there's any members of the public that would like to comment on this item. They have the opportunity to raise their hand. All right, I don't see anyone raising their hand, so we will open it up to any further council discussion. Seeing none, we will move to a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Budraco,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Mankey,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes.
9-0.
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is request for tax fixing agreement at 712 Cedar Street. In our packets, we had a memo from the town manager stating that before us, we have a request from Richard P. Hayes Jr. of Hayes Developers requesting a tax fixing agreement. And I will turn it over to, I believe we have Mr. Chapman and our assessor, Mr. Kosofsky, with us for this item. So whoever would like to begin.
I'll take it from here, and then Steve will be joining me in a couple of seconds. But this is good news for the town. This has been in the works for quite a while now, and it's finally coming forward to the point where the owner of the property, current owner of the property, is requesting consideration for a tax abatement at the request of the potential purchaser of the agreement. And what I have come to understand, talking with Mr. Hayes, is that the buyers of the property want some assurances that a tax abatement would be afforded to them if they proceed with the plans going forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And that's scheduled, I believe, on January 13th, or it will be on January 13th, for them to submit their plans and review with the Planning and Zoning. So what they are proposing to develop on the site at 712 Cedar Street is a 122 room extended stay hotel on the property next to 690 Cedar Street, and next to on the other side where the gas station is at the corner of Fenn Road and Cedar Street. They're expecting to expend somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 million, or maybe a little bit less, depending on how the assessor works it out with them once they submit their plans. So what is being asked for you to consider, not for tonight, but to consider for a vote on the meeting on the 12th of January, is to afford the new owner, which you will be identified, they will be identified. You'll have further information as to who is going to build this, what the timetable is, and so forth. So they would like to have an indication tonight of the support for a 40% tax abatement over a 10-year period, starting with the final CO being issued on the building, which is anticipated to probably take, I would guess, maybe 12 to 15 months from the time they get approval from planning and zoning for the building to be completed. And we did ask for specific information on employment to build the building. They're looking at 200 to 250 construction workers over a 13-month period. And then once opened up, at least 12 to 15 permanent employees at the site. So it's a real win for the town. It's been a vacant piece of land for many years. And we're working with Hayes Hoffman Partnership, particularly Rich Hayes, to see if we can move this forward. So it would be on your agenda on your June 12th Tuesday night meeting for action to offer a 40% tax incentive that would be carried over 10 years. It's pretty standard in the industry today. And, I will now turn over to Steve to have him further explain how that actually will work and the dollars that, and these are all estimates at this point. It will not be finalized until later on. But Steve, if you're on board, can you jump in here?
I will. Good evening. We are very, very close in reaching an agreement on this with the developer. I'm just waiting for the delivery of a few more details regarding his overall costs. But in general numbers, it appears that it's going to be a $10 million project or thereabouts. If you do the math, 70% of that comes out to $7 million. At our current mill rate, that would be approximately $275,000 per year, the gross tax. A 40% benefit would give them a reduction of about $110,000, which would net the town approximately $165,000 per year. You extend that out over 10 years, the net revenues to the town would be approximately $1.65 million. The net benefit to the taxpayer would be approximately $1.1 million on a total tax burden over 10 years of about $2,750,000. So I feel very, very comfortable that we will finalize this in the next few days and certainly have the detailed information in time for you to take action at your next meeting.
Great, thank you. This is great news. I think this is certainly something we should consider as a council, but I'll open it up for discussion if anyone has any questions or comments on this item. I don't see any hands up. All right. So I will say that I think you hit the nail on the head. Right now, this seems to be pretty standard procedure in development. And certainly as a council, we have made becoming more business friendly and open for development to help either develop places that we have available or redevelopment, certainly. And so this is one way that we're trying to make sure that we are bringing developers in and getting some things done in town. And as you mentioned, when you look at the figures, right now we're getting, a lot less on that property. So to have it developed and be able to bring in some more revenue to offset for our taxpayers' burden, I think it makes a lot of sense for us. So I don't see any other hands up. So we will go ahead and continue this on for our January 12th agenda for consideration.
Mayor, if I may, Mayor,
absolutely.
I'd like to be able to go back to Mr. Hayes tomorrow morning to let him know that this has been discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And, unless there's an objection to what is being proposed there, understanding that there will be some modifications based upon the final numbers for your meeting on the 12th. Is there any objection to providing a 40% tax abatement over the next 10 years once the CO is listed? I really need to know that so I can convey that back to Mr. Hayes so he can convey it back to the developers that are looking to buy his property.
Okay. I will say that I am in favor of, at this point, of moving this forward as long as the agreement works out based on what you've presented so far. I see Councilor Mankey's hand is up and then Councilor Minor.
Yes, I would support this as presented. We don't have, all the facts and details, but I certainly think it's important we become business friendly and we support development, which will help with our grand list. So I would support this.
Thank you. Counselor Minor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two quick questions for Keith. On your memory, is there a record of any tax fixes or tax abatements in the past?
For the town of Newington, tax
Yeah.
abatements, there was one that was offered on the property up on top of the mountain that had never gone forward, still may, but at this point is not. I cannot recall any tax abatements when I was town manager before, and I don't believe there was any tax abatements given during the 18 years I've been gone. But what's changed in the industry today is when you're spending this kind of money, developers are demanding abatements no matter where they develop. And most other towns that have had developments going on in the last, we'll say 18 years have in fact issued out tax abatements. And it's pretty standard operating procedure now. And it's understandable. I mean, they are putting a lot of money into these operations. And, what's nice about no matter what happens with the 10-year tax abatement, the 11th year becomes 100% for the town, and there's no more incentives. So, we just have to be a little bit patient on getting 100% of the taxes in, but it will come 10 years after the abatement program is ended.
Okay, and was there any indication, I know with the project that you're referring to at the top of the mountain, that project, the tax deferral was necessary for the developer to be able to consider moving forward with his financing. Have you seen the pro forma from the developer or the property owner to indicate that this is a necessity, or is it just as a matter of competition to surrounding towns that might be privy to the same project?
I think it's more of that they want an abatement. I'm not sure that they need it, but if they don't get it in Newington, I think they'll quickly move to another community to get it. And other communities will give it to them gladly. Other communities actually are giving some abatements upwards of 70%. And, Steve and I have worked hard to, come in with this percentage. We initially were offering less, but they were asking for more. So we met at a 40% level, which is less than what many other neighboring towns even are offering right now.
Okay, appreciate that. And the other thing was just whether or not that was comparable by percentage to some other discussions that we've had over recent months by percentage, or is that not even in line?
All of the discussions that we've had of recent, since I've been back, this falls right in line with it.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Nagel?
I would like to add my support for what you've presented, Mr. Chapman, involving this economic development enterprise that's taken place. It looks like an excellent project for the area and for Newington. And it's good to hear good news as we end this particular year, and hope it continues into next year with that and other developments as well. And when it's appropriate, a little later in the meeting, I'd like you to comment on any other developments that are in the works that are going on in town at that time.
Sure.
Thank you, Counselor Nagel. Counselor Annist?
Hi, thank you. I concur with this, and I know Rich has been working for many, many, many years to try to get a long-term stay hotel on this site. So kudos for him for bringing this deal to fruition. I was just wondering if either Steve or Keith can just explain to the residents how the 40% is going to work. I think it'd give them a little bit of ease knowing that, it could be taken in a lump sum for the first year or second year or whatever, or it could be spread out And when do they have to notify the town how they're going to be taking it?
Okay, as far as the way in which it will work is, and Newington is somewhat unique in this. Most other communities have a set pattern that they require of the developer. And again, Steve and I are coming up with new innovative ways to stimulate economic growth in Newington. What is on the table with this package right here is that the developer, once they receive their final CO of completion for the building and the development, they will have already expressed to us how they want to activate the abatement. For an example, some developers would take 40% each year for 10 years, and keep it a level flat abatement. Other developers may want to front load their abatement of 40%. And again, it's all based upon numbers. So the 40% is, we'll say, $1 million over 10 years in abatement for this development, just for conversation purposes. So some developers may want to take that $1 million as quickly as they can get it over the first few years of owning the property and building on it. Other developers may want to delay that until the last couple of years, or some combination, whatever they choose. We feel strongly that one of the things that will help us market this town is by having the flexibility where the developer can pick and choose how they want to have this utilized, rather than the town saying you must do it a certain way, because in the end, we're still getting the same amount of money. In the end, they're still getting the same amount of money, but for them to do this project, they may need some relief up front, depending on their finances, versus waiting until later in the 10-year period. So it's all about the total dollars that they will be afforded during this 10-year period, and how it actually calculates out for them. But in any event, in this particular example that you see on the screen, if you look at the yellow highlighted area, that 998,000 represents an estimate of what they would get in an abatement for over a 10-year period. So they can take take $100,000 a year, however they want to do it. But they have 10 years to do it, and they cannot start their 10 years until we issue the final finished CO of the property. So it forces them to finish the project quickly and get going with their abatement program.
Thank you.
And in this particular case, this example would show that, yes, they're getting a tax break of $1 million, but we're getting close to $1.5 million in revenue. So it's a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Minor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two quick points to follow up on Councilor Nest, if either Keith or Steve, just to explain to the public. Now, this is based on the estimated mill rate and estimated construction cost at this point. How does that reflect over the next 10 years with reevaluations and what the mill rate does? How does that affect it, or does it?
Steve, can you take this one?
Well, if Mr. Chapman had his way, that mill rate is probably in error, because he would probably want it to be reduced for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Aside from that, I've been in discussions with this developer and made it clear as recently as this afternoon in a conversation that I had with him, that after year number 5, we will be going through another revaluation here in Newington. We just finished this one. And in year 5, we'll be going through another revaluation, at which point this property will be valued using a different approach other than the cost approach. Because it's an income producing property, we'll be doing it on an income approach. But regardless, if he is fully understanding of this concept, regardless of whatever the total tax liability is for a particular year, he will be granted a 40% abatement for that particular year.
Okay, so the percentage is based upon whatever the valuation ends up being and whatever the mill rate ends up being, not a set figure per se.
That is correct.
Right.
Okay. And just a quick follow-up to that, as we have less and less land available for new development, I think maybe moving forward, it might be in our best interest to try to get creative in ways of trying to get property owners to reinvest in their properties, increasing their values, but with that, to give them an incentive to do so. Because a lot of the property owners that already currently own property, the first thing out of their mouths are, why should this developer be afforded the opportunity for a tax abatement where I have to pay 100%, evaluation of my property, where this might be an opportunity to encourage property owners to reinvest in their properties and redevelop, therefore increasing the grand list without new development per se.
If I may just comment on that, Councilman Minor, 2 points, and you are absolutely 100% dead on. First of all, you are absolutely correct in the fact that we are land poor in terms of having open area to develop. That is primarily the reason why we have chosen this very, very flexible approach that Keith has described in terms of our economic incentives for developers. We have got to do it better than another town that has excess area to continuously attract property owners. We are not in the luxury of giving a potential developer perhaps a bigger hard time than it would in another community, which frankly would have plenty of room, and they would be having several offers that would be coming in a particular year to develop in their town. We just don't have that type of property available. In terms of your second point, again, you're dead on. And I think as Councilman Nagel asked Keith to make some comments regarding other developments that are be going on in this area, because of the development that is going on specifically in this particular area, you're going to hear about very soon development in areas very, very close to this area that are existing, that are going to be very active, either in the sale of the property or the redevelopment of it. But you got to start somewhere to get the development going. And that's why I'm very, very pleased that this one has got this far, because it will stir other development in the area.
No, I agree with you. There's an opportunity for development draws new development, redevelopment, and we need to start somewhere. And I think this is at least a viable approach to discuss. Thank you.
I apologize. I didn't realize I was on mute. Any other questions or comments on this item? Councilor Camillo?
Keith and Steve, thank you. This past year has been great. We're in a different place than we were a year ago. And I know your hard work, working with everyone in town to get us in a better place during COVID. Thanks again. And what Chris was talking about with people redeveloping their houses and properties, great idea. We should really push that. With interest rates low, and that would help us keep the mill rate low because the property values would increase. And thank you again.
Thank you, Councilor Camillo. Anyone else? Okay, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Chapman and Mr. Kosofsky, for your out-of-the-box thinking on this. And I do appreciate the idea of being flexible in order to aid in our economic development efforts. As I mentioned at the start, we are really trying to be business friendly. We are trying to find ways to grow our grand list. This has been a priority set by this council, and I really appreciate your efforts in supporting us in this endeavor.
You're here.
All right, we will have this on our January 12th agenda for consideration.
That's correct.
Mr. Chapman, you feel like you have enough of a sense of the council's intent to go back to Mr. Hayes?
I have not heard any negative comments, so that's what I will report back to him. Yes, I'm very pleased. Thank you very much. This has been a lot of work, but I think it's the beginning of the new wave that Newington's going to have for the next foreseeable future. We'll see.
Wonderful. Thank you again. All right, we will move on. That is the last item under new business. So we are on to resignations and appointments. I believe we have one. Counselor Menke.
We do. Resolved, the Newington Town Council hereby makes the following appointments. John Bashand, member, 56 Maple Hill Avenue, Party R, term 12/8/2020 to 11/30/2025. Reappoints self.
Is there a second?
Second.
There we go.
Seconded by Counselor Camillo. Thank you. Everybody's on mute. It takes a second. All right, any discussion on this appointment? Seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Well, excuse me,
go
the
ahead.
title, I'm sorry, the title is wrong.
No, the title is correct. It's TP, Zoning Board of Appeals.
It is the zoning board of appeals?
It is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did verify. Mr. Bashan was previously appointed on November of 2019 to the Conservation and Inland Wetlands Commission.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Boudreaux,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, wonderful. Next item is refunds. We have an approval of the December 8th, 2020 refunds for an overpayment of taxes in front of us. Counselor Boudreaux, or Deputy Mayor Boudreaux, I apologize.
Resolved that property tax refunds in the amount of $3,031.63 are hereby approved in the individual amounts and for those named on the requests for refund of an overpayment of taxes certified by the revenue collector, a list of which is attached to this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Nagel. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Anist,
Yes.
Counselor Braverman,
Yes.
Counselor Boudreaux,
Yes.
Counselor Camillo,
Yes.
Counselor Donahue,
Yes.
Counselor Menke,
Yes.
Counselor Minor,
Yes.
Counselor Nagel,
Yes.
Mayor Del Buono.
Yes. Motion passed.
9-0.
Okay, we will move on. We have tabled the next item, which is the minutes. So we will move on to written and oral communications from the town manager.
Thank you. Couple of things. First off, the presentations that were done tonight, I have to also comment that Don Woods and Tom Tallard, great people, and very pleased that they were honored tonight. And Tom Tallard and his stories about he and I go way back. So enough said about that. But also I want to just compliment Karen Gagliardi for her 26 plus years. I was involved in the hiring of her 26 and a half years ago. So I think we made a good choice, and I think that she'll be missed greatly. But you know, they're good people, and they're town of Newington people. And I want to give an opportunity during my time. I know that Mr. DeMayo has always got a few words, and he didn't get a chance tonight to speak until now. So I'm going to turn it over to him just for a few words, Bill. Okay. So you have the floor.
Mr. DeMayo, are you there? Let me just double check.
He's muted.
Bill, you're muted if you're talking. There you
How's
go.
that? Is that
There
better?
we are.
Yeah,
There
I
you
just, I didn't want to take any more of your time. I just said that we're very appreciative of the 4 award winners. I think public-private partnerships are the way of the future. I think Newington is taking the lead on this. I think people in the Northeast in Parks and Recreation are jealous of what we're doing. Out in the Midwest and out in the West and down South, they do this all the time. So we're very happy and thankful. But more partnerships and more businesses getting involved in government is really the way of the future. So I thank all those guys. Tom Talbot didn't mention that I was the camp counselor at Elm Hill School, and we used to always win the softball tournaments against Seymour Park. So I just want to clarify that for him. He didn't bring it up. But Don Woods is the greatest guy ever to work with, and 34 years on the commission is incredible. The Masons are always there for us. Chip Stam is my main contact over there. Thank him for everything. He gives us the tent, and then he throws in $500 for concerts. So Century 21's Chip Stam, unbelievable. And then, of course, AERP and Fit Lot. I mean, making a connection down in New Orleans was just incredible. And the gentleman that spoke was in Maryland. This is a national organization that's well respected. And coming to be Newington being the only town in Connecticut to get selected to get $200,000 plus is just another feather in Newington's cap. And when you see us hiring instructors at Clem Lemire for different programs that they're going to pay for free exercise classes for the next 3 years, it's incredible. So we're thankful and appreciative to all businesses and civic groups that come to our aid to help lower taxes and to make our town a better place to live, work, and play. And I'll end it there.
Thank you, Bill.
Also, may I just add that Thursday and Fridays, we got word, and I think the council got an email from Santa Claus in the North Pole. Santa Claus from 5 to 8 o'clock will be driving over 25 miles on the hay wagon to check out the decorated houses. And anyone that wants to vote, go to the Parks and Rec webpage and vote for your favorite decorated house. They'll win a $100 gift certificate. And then Friday, where Santa's going to come back, and we're going to go to 18 or 20 houses of the kindest kids in Newington. So we're going to honor them and take pictures on their front lawns with their families, socially distanced.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Just so you know, Bill, it does not go unnoticed. We have these wonderful partnerships because of some of the work that you're doing to reach out and get these partnerships for us. So thank you for the work you do with that too.
Thanks, Mayor.
As a follow-up to Councilor Nagel's request, just to give you an update on a couple things going on. The National Welding site process is moving forward. We've had a number of discussions with their representatives and our representatives, and we are very comfortable. We're working now with the state on what their requirements are to sign off and approve the sale of the property. They're involved because of the abatement on the hazardous waste and the cleanup and so forth. So that's moving forward. We expect everything to go on time. So that should be good news after the first of the year. We're also meeting tomorrow actually with buyers and sellers of property in Newington that has been idle for many, many years. That we have we've talked with the sellers and they want to sell, and it's been empty for many years. So we have a buyer that is anxious to buy it and occupy it and renovate it. So I can't identify who that is yet, but I will as soon as we can. So it's going to be a good plus for the town. We also have activity going on, as you know, on the turnpike with Burlington coming in. We have a restaurant that will be coming in, replacing a former restaurant on the turnpike. There's other activity going on throughout scattered parts of the town. We have a company from West Hartford that is seeking to move into Newington in the north end of town. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's kind of strange because COVID-19, is decimating certain individuals and businesses, but other ones are thriving. So I guess there's always some light at the end of the tunnel, we'll say. But I want to just compliment the economic development team, which is made up of Steve and Heather and Janet from our finance department. We are really striving to get economic development active back into this town, because it's the only way you're going to be able to afford what needs to be done in the future. And hopefully it will work out. So I hope that gives you kind of a preview, but next year hopefully is going to be a banner year for the town as far as economic development goes.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate these updates on the economic development piece. Things have been silent for a long time, so I appreciate that we're getting some movement and some real prospects, and it's good to hear that, hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed. And I know, you have to be careful on what you share and what you hold back until things are finalized, but I appreciate the little updates that you're able to give us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I don't see anyone's hands up, so we will move on to council liaison and committee reports. Anyone? Deputy Mayor Bedrejko.
Yes, it's just, I'd like to just let the public know about an initiative from the Newington Police Department in concert with the police community the police community commission. There's a new initiative that started December 6th, and should an officer stop a car that has a broken headlight or a tail light, instead of a ticket or an infraction or violation, they may be the lucky recipient of a voucher to get the tail light or brake light fixed. This is a great initiative that came out of the Police Community Council, and it's an attempt to, particularly at this time when many people can't afford, it's not a $5 fix anymore to get these tail lights and brake and headlights replaced. So it could really benefit an awful lot of people who really don't want to be driving around in violation or safety issue, but they don't have the money necessarily to get it repaired. So again, instead of a ticket, they'll be given a voucher. And this program was made available by the generosity of Geico here in town, and also Turnpike Motors. So here's the thing, it's an innovative program from our police department, and I think they deserve kudos, and it's come at a very good time.
Thank you. Councilor Donahue.
I just want to give a quick update on NCTV. We got our building permit for our ceiling grid in the studio approved. It got approved on Friday. We're contacting the vendors. Once the lighting grid is in, we can start adding the rest of the stuff and get the studio up and running. And then I promise, Keith, I'll clean out your conference room.
All right, thank you, Councilor Donahue. I don't see any other hands up right now, so we will move on to public participation. Any member of the public that would like to participate can raise your hand, or if you're in the Zoom application, or you may dial *9 to raise your hand if you are phoning into the meeting through the Zoom function. And I see Miss Lyons is with us. Go right ahead, Miss Lyons.
Hi, this is Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. I don't know if our assessor is still in the meeting, but I was just curious as to when the reval letters are going to be going out to us residents, probably just in time for a Christmas present to put on the tree, and think about how our house values have gone up, seeing it seems to be quite the thing these days, people wanting to move to the suburbs. If I had a place to go right now myself, I'd probably put my house on the market. The other thing I wanted to just give a shout out to the Highway Department. I know that Councilor Bedrejko mentioned it, I think at your last meeting, about the the leaf removal. And I think they did an awesome job of cleaning up the town this year. They got it done just in time before they had to put the snow plows onto the trucks. So again, thank you to them. And I think that Tom Malloy will be leaving at the end of the year, retiring. That's what I heard. And just want to say thank you publicly to him for all he has done over the years, especially for my terminus at the end of Elton Drive. That and bulk waste, I've noticed as I'm going around town, which I don't do often other than go to Middlewoods to take care of a plant that I have outside of a friend's window and visit for 5 minutes from outside of her room, that a lot of people are leaving things along the side of the road thinking that someone might like their old table or their old chair. It's getting to be wintertime. And soon, if they don't call the highway department and get it onto the bulk waste pickup, we're going to be seeing the snow covered over tables and chairs and things like that. I'm just wondering if there's something that maybe if our Parks and Rec crew are out or other people are out or see these things, if they could just report them to the highway department. I know I've done it myself, and I just think it's the proper thing to do. Keep the town clean, especially during the winter time when the snow's coming. We don't need to see this in the spring. That being said, happy holidays to you all. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and any other holiday that you may celebrate, and a happy and healthy New Year. Let's hope 2021 is better for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons. Happy holidays to you as well, and Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't have anyone else waiting to speak, so we will go on to remarks by counselors. Counselor Menke.
I would just wish everyone a happy holidays. And as Ms. Lyons said, hopefully 2021 will be a better year for us. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Counselor Menke. Anyone else? Okay, I don't see anyone else, so I will just add happy holidays, Merry Christmas to those that celebrate, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and happy anything else that you celebrate. We greatly appreciate all of our residents in town, and I appreciate all of you counselors that I get to work with regularly, and our town staff. Mr. Chapman, thank you for all of your efforts, and I know 2020 has been extremely challenging for all of us, and everyone keeps saying, let's wait for 2021. I'm, cautiously optimistic. I think we still have some challenges to face in the new year, but I'm really very happy to be facing those challenges with this council and this group of individuals. So I want to say my end of the year thanks to everyone here. Thank you to our residents for their continual input to us. We can only do what we do with your input if we know what you want from us. So to all of our residents, keep reaching out, and happy holidays to everyone out there, and Happy New Year. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great evening. Well, we do need a motion to adjourn before we officially adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Menke, seconded by Counselor Donahue, and all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned at 9:07. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.